The Guardian Frontier. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the command deck of the HS Thunderbolt, watching the stars drift past on the main view screen. Earth's outer colonies had reported strange energy signatures at the edge of human-controlled space, and the Thunderbolt had been dispatched to investigate. As one of humanity's newest and most heavily armed warships, the Thunderbolt represented the pinnacle of human engineering, overbuilt, overpowered, and designed to withstand conditions that would tear lesser vessels apart. "Status report," Voss ordered, her voice carrying the quiet authority that had earned her command of the Thunderbolt at the remarkably young age of 34. Lieutenant Commander Kazuo Chen looked up from his station. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're approaching the coordinates provided by Nova Colony. Energy signatures are increasing in frequency and intensity." Voss nodded, her silver-gray eyes narrowing as she studied the sensor data scrolling across her personal display. Whatever they were about to encounter wasn't natural. The patterns were too regular, too structured. "Tactical alert," she ordered. "Bring weapons systems online. Shields at maximum. Let's not be caught unprepared." The ship's lighting shifted to a subtle red glow as crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their battle stations. The Thunderbolt had never engaged in actual combat. Humanity had yet to encounter another spacefaring species, but Captain Voss believed in preparation. "Captain," Communications Officer Maya Rodriguez called, her voice tight with suppressed excitement. "We're picking up a transmission. It's not anything I've ever seen before, definitely not human." A murmur of surprise rippled through the bridge crew before Voss's raised hand silenced them. "Can you clean it up?" "Working on it," Rodriguez replied, her fingers dancing across her console. "The Universal Translation Matrix is attempting to parse it now. I think it's a distress signal." The main view screen flickered, displaying a cascade of unfamiliar symbols, before resolving into a visual transmission. Voss felt her breath catch. On the screen was unmistakably an alien, tall, with translucent skin that seemed to pulse with inner light, revealing the shadow of organs and bone structures unlike anything on Earth. Its features were delicate, almost fragile-looking, with large, multifaceted eyes that reflected light like polished opals. "This is a distress call to any sentient species capable of assistance." The alien's voice came through, melodious despite the obvious urgency. "We are the Luminary Collective, fleeing certain extinction. Our fleet carries millions of civilians, including children. We beg for sanctuary or aid against the Void Reapers who hunt us." The transmission showed a wider view, revealing dozens of elegant crystalline ships moving in perfect formation. Behind them, darker shapes were visible, angular vessels covered in what appeared to be organic armor plating, moving with predatory purpose. "Sensor analysis," Voss ordered, fighting to keep her voice steady despite the historic nature of this first contact. "The leading vessels, the luminary ships, are running at what appears to be maximum capacity, Captain," reported Tactical Officer Marcus Way. "Their design is like nothing I've ever seen. Almost organic, highly efficient, but with minimal defensive capabilities. The pursuing vessels are significantly more heavily armed. They're firing some kind of energy weapon." As if to punctuate Way's assessment, the view screen showed one of the luminary ships taking a direct hit. Instead of exploding, the vessel seemed to crystallize, becoming briefly transparent before shattering into countless fragments that dispersed into the void. Voss winced at the implications, thousands of lives snuffed out in an instant. "How long until they reach our position?" she asked. 17 minutes at current velocities," Chen replied. Voss squared her shoulders. Humanity had prepared for first contact for generations, developing protocols and contingencies. None had anticipated this scenario, being thrust into the middle of an alien conflict with millions of lives hanging in the balance. "Open a channel," she ordered, to both groups. "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the human starship Thunderbolt. We are receiving your distress call, Luminary Collective. To the pursuing vessels, Halt your advance and state your intentions within our territory." For a moment, there was silence. Then the luminary representative appeared again on the screen. "Captain Voss, I am First Speaker Talon of the Luminary. We had no knowledge this region was claimed by another species. We seek only safe passage. The Void Reapers hunt us because our technological advancement has reached what they call the harvest threshold. They will not respond to diplomacy." A second transmission cut in, a harsh guttural sound that made several bridge officers wince. The universal translator struggled to interpret for several seconds before producing words. "Inferior species. This harvest is claimed. Interference will result in your addition to our collection. Your vessel is primitive. Stand aside." The screen showed one of the Void Reaper ships, closer now. Its hull was a disturbing fusion of technology and what appeared to be biological components, with weapon emplacements that pulsed with sickly green energy. Voss studied the transmission, then looked at her tactical officer. Analysis of their weapons versus our defenses. Wei's fingers flew across his console. "Based on what we've observed, their primary weapons cause some kind of molecular destabilization. Our hull composition is significantly denser than the luminary vessels. Their weapons would likely have reduced effectiveness against our armor plating. They also appear to have underestimated our technological level." Voss felt a grim smile tug at her lips. It wasn't the first time humanity had been underestimated. Evolving on Earth, a high-gravity planet with extreme weather patterns, diverse predators, and natural disasters, had forced humans to develop bodies and technologies designed to withstand conditions that would kill most species. What humans considered standard safety margins, most engineers would consider excessive redundancy. "Helm, move to intercept the Reaper fleet. Lieutenant Wei, target their lead vessel's propulsion systems. Let's show them exactly how primitive we are." The Thunderbolt's engines roared to full power as the massive warship moved to place itself between the fleeing luminary and the pursuing Reapers. The vessel's main batteries, designed to pierce asteroid shields and planetary defenses, locked onto the lead Reaper ship. "Weapon systems ready, Captain," Wei reported. "Fire." The Thunderbolt's main cannon discharge, a blinding lance of superheated plasma, accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. The Reaper vessel, apparently not expecting resistance, and certainly not expecting weapons of such destructive capability, took the hit directly on its bow. Instead of the crystallization effect seen on the luminary ships, the Reaper vessel simply came apart, its organic armor proving wholly inadequate against human weaponry. "Direct hit, Captain," Wei reported, unable to keep a note of satisfaction from his voice. "Target destroyed." "The remaining Reaper vessels are altering course," Chen added. "They appear to be retreating." On the view screen, the surviving Reaper ships were indeed turning away, accelerating rapidly. Their weapons, evolved to fight the more fragile luminary ships, were useless against human engineering. "Open a channel to the luminary fleet," Voss ordered. First Speaker Talon appeared once more, the alien's translucent skin pulsing with patterns that seemed to indicate astonishment. "Captain Voss, we have fled before the Reapers across 12 star systems. None could stand against them. Your single vessel just destroyed one of their harvesters." "We have a saying on Earth," Voss replied. "The best diplomat carries a big stick. The Reapers underestimated us because they didn't understand what they were facing. Humanity evolved on what you'd likely consider a death world: high gravity, extreme weather, dangerous predators. It made us tough. It made our ships tough." Talon's skin rippled with patterns that the translator couldn't quite interpret. "The universe has a strange sense of balance, Captain Voss. We luminary evolved to be peaceful, to create rather than destroy. Our technology is advanced in ways yours is not, yet we lack the physical resilience and defensive capabilities your species takes for granted. Perhaps that's why we found each other," Voss suggested. "You need protection. We can provide that. And I suspect we could learn much from your technology. A mutual exchange, Talon agreed, the alien's melodious voice carrying a note of hope for the first time. Protection for knowledge. As the Thunderbolt moved to escort the Luminary fleet to safety, Voss couldn't help but reflect on the irony. Humanity had looked to the stars expecting to find creatures more advanced than themselves. Instead, they'd found a galaxy that desperately needed exactly what Earth's harsh evolution had created: protectors strong enough to stand against the darkness. The universe, it seemed, had plans of its own. Deathworlders Ascendant. 6 months after the Thunderbolt's historic first contact, Harmony Station hung in orbit above the colony world of Nova Prime. The massive structure represented an unprecedented collaboration between humans and Luminary. Blocky human-designed armor and weapon systems protecting the graceful crystalline architecture of Luminary living spaces. Admiral Ilara Voss, recently promoted after her actions against the Void Reapers, stood in the station's central command hub watching tactical displays with a mixture of pride and concern. Around her, human and Luminary personnel worked together with an efficiency that would have seemed impossible half a year ago. "The integration of our technologies continues to exceed expectations," said First Speaker Talon, gliding into the command center. The Luminary leader's translucent skin pulsed with patterns of satisfaction as they gestured toward a nearby display showing the combined human-Luminary defense fleet. What had begun as simple protection had evolved into something far more significant. Human engineers had been astounded by Luminary energy manipulation technology, while the Luminary had marveled at human materials science and structural engineering. The resulting hybrid designs were unlike anything either species had created alone. "The latest simulations suggest our hybrid vessels are 300% more effective than either of our original designs," Voss agreed. "Your energy-focusing arrays combined with our plasma cannons are particularly impressive, as are your armor composites infused with our crystalline matrices," Talon replied. "What one species lacks, the other provides." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Lieutenant Commander Chen, who had transferred with Voss to Harmony Station, looked up from his console with visible concern. "Admiral, long-range sensors have detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the system. Void Reaper configuration, but larger than anything we've encountered before." Voss moved to the central holographic display, studying the incoming data with narrowed eyes. "Show me." The display shifted to show a formation of Void Reaper vessels, not dozens as they'd faced before, but hundreds. At the center of the formation was a massive ship that dwarfed even the largest human dreadnoughts, its hull bristling with weapon emplacements. "They've adapted," Tactical Officer Wei observed. "The smaller vessels show modified armor plating, likely designed to withstand our plasma weapons, and those new weapon configurations." "They're learning," Voss agreed grimly. "Species don't achieve spaceflight without being adaptable." Talon drifted closer to the display, their skin pulsing with patterns of analysis. "This is a harvester fleet. They normally only deploy such forces against civilizations they deem worthy of complete assimilation. They're not here for the Luminary anymore," Voss realized. "They're here for us. Our victory 6 months ago didn't just save your people, it made humanity a target." "The Void Reapers consume technological innovation," Talon confirmed. "Your weapons technology clearly surprised them. Now they seek to understand and incorporate it." Voss turned to her communications officer. "Alert all colonies in the sector. Implement Contingency Omega. Then contact Earth Command. They need to know what's coming." The command center erupted into controlled activity as alerts were sent and defense protocols initiated. Within minutes, the entire human Luminary fleet was mobilizing, moving into predetermined defensive formations around Nova Prime and its orbital installations. Talon approached Voss privately, their skin pulsing with complex patterns that the Admiral had learned indicated deep concern. "There's something you should know, Admiral. Something my people have withheld." Voss raised an eyebrow. "This seems like poor timing for secrets, First Speaker." "It is relevant to our current situation," Talon insisted. "The Void Reapers don't just hunt technologically advanced species at random. They specifically target those approaching a developmental threshold, what we call the ascension point. What's that supposed to mean? It means, Talon explained, that the Reapers believe humanity is on the verge of a technological breakthrough that would make you unstoppable. They fear what you might become. Voss processed this information quickly. That's why they've committed such a large force. They're afraid. With good reason. Talon's skin rippled with what Voss had come to recognize as grim amusement. My people have studied your biology, your history, your technological development curve. You achieved in centuries what took most species millennia. Your adaptability, your resilience, these are not common traits in the galaxy. So what's the plan then? Voss asked practically. Even with our combined fleet, we're outnumbered. Numbers are irrelevant when facing a Deathworlder species fighting for survival, Talon replied. But there is one option we haven't yet discussed. A technology my people developed but never deployed. A harmonic resonance array. 2 hours later, as the Reaper fleet entered the Nova Prime system, they encountered not a defensive line of ships, but a seemingly abandoned orbital station. Harmony Station hung in space, its defenses powered down, appearing vulnerable. From the bridge of the HFY Thunderbolt, now refitted with luminary technology, Voss watched the Reaper fleet approach the bait. Her vessel and the rest of the combined fleet had taken position behind Nova Prime's moon, hidden from the Reaper's sensors by a combination of human stealth technology and luminary energy masking. They're moving into position around the station, Way reported. Energy readings suggest they're preparing to fire. Wait for it, Voss ordered, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Let them commit fully to the attack. The massive Reaper command vessel moved into position directly above Harmony Station, its weapon systems powering up for what appeared to be a devastating attack. The moment it fired its first salvo, however, something unexpected happened. Instead of being destroyed, Harmony Station absorbed the energy, its crystalline elements, secretly modified with luminary harmonic technology, beginning to glow with increasing intensity. Now, Voss ordered. Throughout the station, human and luminary engineers activated the harmonic resonance array, a technology that used the Reaper's own energy against them, amplifying and reflecting it back on a frequency specifically calibrated to disrupt their organic technological hybrid systems. A wave of energy pulsed outward from the station, washing over the Reaper fleet. Ships closest to the station simply came apart, their biological components liquefying while their technological elements shorted out. The effect cascaded through their formation, with dozens of vessels disabled in seconds. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Voss commanded. Concentrate fire on the command vessel. The combined human luminary fleet surged from behind the moon, moving with precision that leveraged both human tactical doctrine and luminary coordination. Hybrid vessels with human armor and luminary energy weapons opened fire on the disorganized Reaper fleet, while specialized interceptors targeted the command vessel's vital systems. The Reapers, caught between the continuing pulses from the harmonic array and the coordinated fleet attack, attempted to regroup and return fire. Their weapons, even modified to deal with human armor, proved ineffective against vessels protected by luminary energy shields layered over human composite armor. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Voss watched as the tide of battle turned decisively in their favor. Target their command vessel's propulsion system, she ordered. I want it disabled, not destroyed. Precision fire from the Thunderbolt and 3 other heavy cruisers crippled the Reaper command ship, leaving it adrift as the rest of the Reaper fleet was systematically dismantled by the combined force. Within an hour, what had begun as an overwhelming Reaper advantage had become a complete rout. The remaining Reaper vessels are retreating, Admiral, Way reported. Shall we pursue? Voss shook her head. No, let them go. Let them carry the message back to wherever they came from. Message received from the Reaper command vessel, the communications officer announced. They're requesting to negotiate. A murmur of surprise ran through the bridge crew. In 6 months of conflict, the Reapers had never attempted communication beyond threats. Put them through, Voss ordered. The view screen activated to show a being unlike any they had encountered before. Where the luminary were beings of light and grace, the Reaper commander was a disturbing fusion of organic and mechanical components, with multiple sensory organs and manipulator limbs that seemed to writhe with independent purpose. Your species. The creature's voice came through the translator in harsh, stilted tones. Not primitive. Not as expected. Cooperation possible. Voss exchanged a glance with Talon, who had joined her on the Thunderbolt for the battle. The luminary's skin pulsed with caution, but also curiosity. Cooperation is always possible, Voss replied carefully, but it requires mutual respect. The hunting of sentient species ends now. The Reaper commander's appendages twisted in what might have been agitation or consideration. Survival requires adaptation. Your species, strong, different. We miscalculated. Yes, you did, Voss agreed. Humanity evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. It made us resilient, adaptable. And now we found allies who complement our strengths. Together, we're something neither of you anticipated. Harvesting. Inefficient. The Reaper conceded, the translator struggling to convey nuance. Exchange. Preferable. 6 months later, Nova Prime had become the center of an unprecedented interstellar alliance. The Treaty of Harmony, signed in the rebuilt Central Chamber of Harmony Station, established not just peace between humans, luminary, and a faction of reformed Reapers, but a framework for technological and cultural exchange. Admiral Voss stood at the viewport of her ready room aboard the Thunderbolt, watching shuttles move between the station and vessels of a dozen different designs. What had begun as a desperate stand against extinction had evolved into something far more profound. Thinking deep thoughts, Admiral? Talon asked, entering the room with their customary fluid grace. Just reflecting on how quickly everything changed, Voss replied. A year ago, humanity thought we were alone in the universe. Now we're at the center of an interstellar alliance. The Deathworlders have become the Guardians, Talon observed, their skin pulsing with patterns of amusement. It is a role that suits your people well. Voss smiled slightly. We spent our evolutionary history fighting to survive on a world that seemed designed to kill us. It's ironic that those same traits now make us ideal protectors of species that evolved in more forgiving environments. The universe, Talon replied, their voice carrying the harmonics of profound satisfaction, has a strange sense of balance. On the view screen, a new class of vessel moved into view. The first ship designed and built collaboratively by engineers from all three species. It combined human structural engineering, luminary energy manipulation, and Reaper biological technology into something entirely new. Its name, displayed prominently on its gleaming hull, summed up everything they had achieved together. HFY Unity. The Deathworlders had found their place in the stars not as conquerors, but as guardians, using the strength forged in Earth's crucible to protect rather than dominate. And in doing so, they had changed the course of galactic history forever.